Control your mind daily, or your life will stay uncontrolled forever. Every single day, whether you realize it or not, you are constantly talking to yourself through your thoughts, and this internal conversation quietly shapes your mindset, your actions, your habits, and ultimately your entire life. Because what you tell yourself repeatedly becomes what you start to believe, and what you believe influences how you behave. And how you behave determines the results you get, yet most people never take control of this inner voice. They allow it to be negative, doubtful, distracted, and influenced by outside situations. And this is why they feel stuck, inconsistent, and mentally weak, because instead of guiding their mind, they are being controlled by it. But the moment you start consciously telling yourself the right things every day, your life begins to shift in a powerful way. Because you are no longer reacting to life randomly, you are directing your thinking with intention. And this is where real growth begins. When you remind yourself daily that you are in control of your actions, you begin to focus less on things outside your control, like people's opinions, unexpected problems, or outcomes you cannot change, and more on what you can actually improve, which is your effort, your discipline, and your mindset. And this shift alone reduces a huge amount of stress, because you are no longer wasting energy on things that do not help you move forward. At the same time, when you tell yourself to stay calm no matter what happens, you begin training your mind to respond differently to situations. Because instead of reacting emotionally to every small problem, you pause, you observe, and you think. And this pause gives you power. It allows you to choose your response instead of being controlled by your emotions. And over time, this creates emotional stability, which is one of the most important qualities for success. Because a calm mind can handle pressure, make better decisions, and stay focused even in difficult situations. And as you continue this daily practice, you also begin to take full responsibility for your life. You stop blaming others, you stop making excuses, and you accept that your results are a reflection of your actions. And while this may feel uncomfortable at first, it is actually empowering. Because when you take responsibility, you gain control, and when you gain control, you gain the ability to change your situation. And this mindset pushes you to take action instead of waiting for things to improve on their own. And action is what creates progress, because no matter how much you think, plan, or imagine, nothing changes until you actually do something. And this is why reminding yourself daily to take action is so important, because it breaks the cycle of overthinking and replaces it with movement. And even small actions taken consistently can create powerful results over time. And along with action, you also learn to accept what you cannot change, because resistance to reality is one of the biggest sources of frustration in life. When things do not go your way and you keep wishing they were different, you create unnecessary stress. But when you accept the situation and focus on what you can do next, you move forward faster and with more clarity. And this acceptance does not mean giving up. It means being realistic and practical, and this practicality helps you stay focused on solutions instead of problems. And as you continue guiding your thoughts daily, you also begin to remind yourself that you are improving every single day. And this is important because many people lose motivation when they do not see immediate results. They feel like they're not progressing and they give up too early. But when you focus on daily improvement instead of instant success, you build patience. And patience keeps you consistent. And consistency is what leads to long-term growth. And during this journey, you also learn to stop seeking approval from everyone, because trying to please everyone will only distract you from your path. And when you remind yourself that you do not need everyone's approval, you gain freedom to think independently, to act boldly, and to take risks without fear of judgment. And this freedom allows you to grow faster, because you're no longer limited by what others think. And at the same time, you strengthen your discipline by telling yourself that you will stay consistent even when things are hard, because the truth is that success is not built in comfortable moments. It is built in difficult ones. When you feel tired but still work, when you feel discouraged but still continue, and when you feel like quitting but still push forward. And every time you do this, you strengthen your mind, you build resilience, and you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. And over time, these daily reminders begin to shape your identity. You are no longer someone who reacts to life randomly. You become someone who thinks with clarity, acts with discipline, and stays focused on growth. And this transformation does not happen overnight, but it happens steadily as you continue guiding your thoughts every day. And eventually, you reach a point where your mindset becomes your strength, where challenges do not break you, where distractions do not control you, and where your progress becomes consistent. And this is the real power of telling yourself the right things daily, because it is not just about motivation. It is about building a mindset that supports your growth in every situation. And when your mindset is strong, your actions improve. When your actions improve, your results improve. And when your results improve, your life begins to change. And that is how something as simple as daily self-talk can become one of the most powerful tools for leveling up your life. Fire every morning when you wake up. You are given a new opportunity to reset your mindset. But most people waste this powerful moment by immediately diving into distractions, overthinking, or negative thoughts. And they do not realize that how they start their morning often determines how the rest of their day will go. Because the first thoughts you allow into your mind set the tone for your focus, your energy, and your behavior. And if you begin your day with stress, doubt, or laziness, it becomes much harder to stay productive and disciplined later. But when you consciously tell yourself the right things every morning, you begin to take control of your day before anything else can control you. And this is where the real power lies, because instead of reacting to life as it comes, as you continue strengthening this habit of daily self-talk, you begin to notice a deeper transformation in the way you approach your responsibilities, your goals, and your challenges. Because instead of waiting for motivation or the right mood to take action, you start relying on discipline. And this shift is extremely important because most people remain stuck simply because they depend on how they feel. If they feel good, they work. If they feel tired, they delay. And if they feel discouraged, they quit. And this emotional inconsistency prevents them from making real progress. But when you remind yourself every day that you will take action regardless of how you feel, you begin to break this pattern. You train your mind to prioritize action over emotion. And this creates consistency. And consistency is what separates those who grow from those who stay the same. And as you continue this practice, you also begin to build self-trust. Because every time you do what you said you would do, you prove to yourself that you are reliable. And this reliability builds confidence. Not the kind that comes from external praise, but the kind that comes from knowing that you can depend on yourself. And this type of confidence is powerful because it is stable and does not disappear easily. And at the same time, you begin to reduce overthinking, because when you focus on action, you spend less time stuck in your thoughts and more time moving forward. And this movement creates momentum, and momentum makes everything easier, because once you start taking action, it becomes easier to continue. And this is how progress builds over time. And as you keep reinforcing these ideas daily, you also become more focused on improvement rather than perfection, because you understand that growth is a process and that making small improvements every day is more important than trying to be perfect. And this mindset removes pressure because you are no longer expecting immediate results. You are simply focusing on doing better than yesterday. And this approach keeps you consistent and patient. And over time, these small improvements create a significant transformation, because while others are stuck waiting for the perfect moment, you're already moving forward, building habits, improving your mindset, and getting closer to your goals. And this is how daily self-talk, when practiced correctly, becomes a powerful tool for leveling up your life. Because it does not just change what you think, it changes how you act. And when your actions change consistently, your results inevitably begin to change as well. Fire as you continue practicing daily self-talk. One of the most powerful changes you begin to experience is the ability to take full responsibility for your life. Because most people live in a constant state of blame. They blame their situation, their past, other people, or even luck for where they are. And while some of these factors may influence life, the truth is that staying in a mindset of blame keeps you powerless. Because as long as you believe something else is responsible for your life, you also believe you cannot change it. But when you begin telling yourself every day that you are responsible for your actions, your habits, and your direction, something shifts inside you. You stop looking for excuses and start looking for solutions. And this shift is powerful because it puts you back in control. And when you're in control, you can improve, you can change, and you can grow. And this mindset also increases your awareness, because you begin to notice your patterns more clearly. You see where you waste time, where you lose focus, and where you hold yourself back. And instead of ignoring these things, you start working on them. And over time, this creates real improvement, because you're not just hoping for change, you are actively creating it. And at the same time, Taking responsibility builds mental strength because it forces you to face reality honestly. It removes the comfort of excuses and replaces it with a challenge of growth. And this challenge is what pushes you forward. Because growth only happens when you're willing to accept your current position and work to improve it. And as you continue this daily reminder, you begin to feel more in control of your life. Because instead of waiting for things to change, you're making them change through your actions. And this sense of control creates confidence because you know that your future is not completely dependent on external circumstances, but largely on what you choose to do every day. And this realization becomes a turning point because once you truly accept responsibility, you stop living passively and start living intentionally, and intentional living is what leads to real progress. Another deep transformation that happens when you consistently guide your thoughts every day is that you begin to detach from unnecessary emotional reactions. Because one of the biggest reasons people struggle in life is not the problems they face, but the way they react to them. They take things personally, they overreact to small situations, and they allow temporary emotions to control their behavior. And this creates unnecessary stress, poor decisions, and wasted energy. But when you remind yourself daily that you will not be controlled by your emotions, you begin to create distance between yourself and your reactions. And this distance is powerful because it gives you the ability to pause, observe, and choose your response carefully. And instead of reacting instantly, you start responding thoughtfully. And this changes everything because your actions become more controlled, your decisions become more logical, and your behavior becomes more stable. And over time, this creates emotional discipline, which is one of the most important qualities for long-term success. Because a disciplined mind does not get distracted easily, it does not lose focus during challenges, and it does not allow negativity to take control. And as you continue this practice, you also begin to experience less stress because you're no longer reacting strongly to every small issue. You learn to let things go, to move on quickly, and to focus on what truly matters. And this ability to stay unaffected by minor situations protects your mental energy, which is extremely valuable because your energy determines how much you can accomplish in a day. And when you are not wasting it on unnecessary reactions, you can invest it into productive actions. And this increases your efficiency and focus. And over time, this calm and controlled approach to life becomes your strength. Because while others are constantly affected by their emotions, you remain steady and focused. And this stability allows you to make consistent progress, which is a key to leveling up in any area of life. Fire. As you continue building a habit of guiding your thoughts every day, you begin to develop a stronger focus on action rather than overthinking. Because one of the biggest reasons people fail to progress in life is not lack of knowledge or ability, but lack of action. They think too much, they plan too much, they wait for the perfect moment. And in the process, they delay progress again and again. And this creates a cycle where ideas remain ideas and goals remain unachieved. But when you start telling yourself daily that action is more important than perfection, you break this cycle. You begin to understand that progress comes from doing, not just thinking. And even small steps taken consistently are more valuable than perfect plans that are never executed. And this shift in mindset pushes you to move forward, even when conditions are not ideal, even when you're not fully confident, and even when you're unsure of the outcome. And this willingness to act creates momentum, and momentum is powerful because once you start moving, it becomes easier to continue. And over time, this builds consistency. Because you're no longer waiting for motivation, you are relying on discipline and action. And as you continue taking action daily, you also begin to learn faster. Because real learning comes from experience, not just theory, and every action you take teaches you something new, helps you improve, and brings you closer to your goals. And at the same time, this habit reduces fear. Because fear often grows when you delay action. The more you think without acting, the bigger your doubts become. But when you take action, even if it is imperfect, you start proving to yourself that you are capable, and this builds confidence. And this confidence encourages you to take even more action, creating a positive cycle of growth. And over time, this approach transforms the way you live because you are no longer stuck in your thoughts. You are actively shaping your life through your actions. And this is what truly leads to progress and success. Another powerful change that comes from daily self-talk is the ability to accept reality without resistance, which allows you to move forward with clarity instead of frustration. because many people waste a huge amount of energy wishing things were different. They resist situations, complain about outcomes, and stay stuck in negative thinking, and this resistance does not change reality. It only creates stress and delays progress. But when you remind yourself daily to accept what you cannot control, you begin to shift your mindset from resistance to adaptation. And this shift is extremely powerful because instead of focusing on what went wrong, you start focusing on what can be done next. And this forward-thinking approach helps you stay productive even in difficult situations. And as you continue practicing acceptance, you also develop emotional stability because you are no longer disturbed by every unexpected event. You understand that life is unpredictable and that not everything will go according to your plans. And this understanding helps you stay calm because you are mentally prepared for challenges. And at the same time, acceptance does not mean giving up or being passive. It means being realistic and practical. It means acknowledging the situation as it is and then taking the best possible action within those conditions. And this mindset increases your effectiveness because your energy is directed toward solutions instead of complaints. And over time, this habit also builds resilience because every time you accept a difficult situation and move forward, you prove to yourself that you can handle challenges, and this builds confidence. And as your confidence grows, your fear decreases, and you become more willing to face new challenges. And this continuous cycle of acceptance, action, and growth helps you level up in a meaningful and lasting way. Because you are no longer controlled by circumstances. You are adapting to them and using them as opportunities to improve. And this is what creates true strength and long-term success. Rock it as you continue practicing daily self-talk with discipline and awareness. You begin to develop patience, which becomes one of the most powerful tools in your journey of leveling up. Because most people struggle not because they lack ability, but because they lack patience. They expect fast results. They want immediate success. And when they do not see quick progress, they feel discouraged and give up. And this impatience keeps them stuck in a cycle of starting and stopping. But when you remind yourself daily that growth takes time, you begin to trust the process. You understand that real progress is built slowly through consistent effort. And this understanding allows you to stay committed even when results are not visible yet. And this is where most people fail. They quit before the results appear. But when you develop patience, you keep going, and over time, your efforts begin to compound. Small actions repeated daily turn into habits. Habits turn into results, and results turn into success. And this compounding effect is powerful because it creates a gap between you and those who give up early. And as you continue this practice, you also become more focused on long-term growth rather than short-term satisfaction. You stop chasing quick wins and start building something meaningful. And this mindset helps you make better decisions because you are no longer driven by instant gratification. You are guided by a long-term vision, and this shift allows you to stay disciplined even when things are difficult because you know that your efforts will pay off eventually. And at the same time, patience also helps you remain calm during setbacks because you understand that failure is not the end. It is part of the process. And this understanding keeps you moving forward. And over time, this consistent effort builds a strong foundation for success because you are not just chasing results. You are building the habits and mindset that sustain those results. And this is what truly helps you level up in life in a stable and lasting way. As all these daily reminders come together, control, calmness, responsibility, action, discipline, acceptance, patience, and focus, you begin to experience a complete transformation in your mindset and your life because you're no longer living randomly or reacting to everything around you. You're living intentionally. You are guiding your thoughts, directing your actions, and shaping your future with awareness. And this shift creates a powerful sense of clarity because you know what matters. You know what to focus on, and you are no longer distracted by unnecessary things like opinions, negativity, or temporary emotions. And this clarity leads to confidence, not the loud kind that seeks attention, but a quiet, strong confidence that comes from self-control and consistency. And this confidence allows you to move forward without fear, to take risks, to face challenges, and to keep going even when things are uncertain. And as you continue this journey, you also develop inner peace because you are no longer controlled by every situation. Your emotions are stable Your thoughts are disciplined and your focus is strong. And this peace allows you to perform better in every area of your life because your mind is not filled with chaos or distraction. It is clear and directed. And over time, this combination of clarity, confidence, and peace create a powerful version of yourself. Someone who is disciplined, resilient, and focused. Someone who does not depend on external conditions to stay motivated. Someone who continues moving forward regardless of challenges. And this is the true power of daily self-talk, because it is not just about saying positive things to yourself. It is about training your mind to think in a way that supports your growth. And when your thinking improves, your actions improve. When your actions improve, your results improve. And when your results improve, your life begins to change. And this transformation does not happen overnight, but it happens steadily as you continue guiding your thoughts every day. And eventually, you reach a point where your mindset becomes your greatest strength, where you're no longer easily affected by problems, where you remain focused on your path, and where you continue growing consistently. And that is the real goal, not just to succeed once, but to become the kind of person who can keep succeeding, growing, and improving no matter what life brings. And that is how you truly level up your life. Fire as you continue this journey of repeating powerful truths to yourself every single day. You slowly begin to realize that the real battle in life is not outside, but inside your own mind. Because everything you experience, success, failure, stress, confidence, fear, first passes through your thoughts before it becomes your reality. And this is why controlling your inner dialogue is one of the most important skills you can ever develop. Because if your mind is filled with doubt, negativity, and distraction, it will reflect in your actions, and your actions will reflect in your results. But when you consciously train your mind to think with clarity, discipline, and purpose, everything begins to change. You start seeing opportunities where others see problems. You remain calm where others panic, and you stay focused where others get distracted. And this difference is not because of luck or talent. It is because of mindset, and mindset is something you build daily through repetition, through awareness, and through discipline. And as you continue telling yourself the right things every day, you begin to strengthen your mental foundation. You become less reactive, less emotional, and more controlled. And this control allows you to handle life with maturity and strength. And over time, you also begin to notice that your energy is no longer wasted on unnecessary things. You are not overthinking small issues. You are not reacting to every opinion. And you are not getting distracted by things that do not matter. Instead, your focus becomes sharp, your priorities become clear, and your actions become aligned with your goals. And this alignment creates progress, because when your thoughts, actions, and goals are in the same direction, results are inevitable. And at the same time, you begin to develop a deeper level of self-trust, because every time you follow through on what you tell yourself, you prove that you are reliable. And this builds confidence, not the kind that depends on others, but the kind that comes from knowing that you can depend on yourself even in difficult situations. And this self-trust becomes your biggest strength because it allows you to keep moving forward without needing constant motivation or external support. And as you continue growing, you also become more resilient because challenges no longer feel like obstacles. They feel like part of the process. And this mindset removes fear because you understand that failure is not something to avoid, but something to learn from. And this learning keeps you improving. And as you improve, your results begin to change. And when your results change, your life begins to change. But the most important transformation is not what happens outside. It is what happens inside, because you are no longer the same person who is easily distracted, easily affected, and easily discouraged. You become someone who is focused, disciplined, and mentally strong. Someone who can handle pressure, stay consistent, and continue growing regardless of circumstances. And this is the true power of daily self-talk. It is not just about motivation. It is about building a mindset that works for you instead of against you. And when your mind starts working for you, everything in your life starts moving in the right direction. And that is when you realize that leveling up is not about changing your situation overnight. It is about changing yourself every single day until your situation has no choice but to change with you. Fire